Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on Tuesday, December 27th at 00:20 in the morning, Eastern Time. Now, my good neighbor and friend Henry Fine has just recently left me after spending the better part of an evening with me. He brought over some food, but more to the point, he brought over his company and his friendship and stories out of his past. And I can't relate a number of those stories because they were intensely personal and are intensely personal to him. But it was a wonderful evening. You see, I've got candles going here. The significance of which will become clearer clear. What's happening? Will become clearer here shortly. We got talking about how it's Hanukkah, and Henry's a Jewish fella. Where's my daggone? Where are those other candles? Oh, there. Don't do that. There we are. All my bookmarks are falling out. It's terrible. I've lost my prayer of Manasseh. Well, I haven't lost it. I've just lost the place. This is ridiculous. There, what? There we go. Well, I'm going to tell you a good story, so it's worth the effort, I think. Maybe. What the? Here we go. That's better. I rarely ever light candles in this house because I don't want to burn the place down. There we go. But we were talking about Hanukkah, and we sort of passed on that, but I got thinking about, well, it's one of those things that, Christians say, oh, it's Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, and that sort of thing, but a lot of them may not have read the account of the first feast or celebration of the rededication of the temple after Judas Maccabees had purged it from the pagan influence in the mid 2nd century BC, and I thought I'd read it to y'all. I only have 2 candles going here, but that's all I can muster up. I can't get 8. So. This is in 1 Maccabees 4:36. Now that's from the Apocrypha for suspicious Protestants, and I was for a while, but I've come to realize that you need to read all this stuff to understand stuff. So we'll start here. Then Judas and his brothers said, Judas Maccabees said, see, our enemies are crushed. Let us go up to cleanse the sanctuary and dedicate it. So all the army assembled and went up to Mount Zion. There they saw the sanctuary desolate, the altar profaned, and the gates burned. Because that's, the Greeks had done that. In the courts they saw bushes sprung up as in thicket, or as on one of the mountains. They saw also the chambers of the priests in ruins. Then they tore their clothes and mourned with great lamentation. They sprinkled themselves with ashes and fell face down on the ground. And when the signal was given with the trumpets, they cried out to heaven. Then Judas detailed men to fight against those in the citadel, which was just outside the temple, until he had cleansed the sanctuary. He chose blameless priests devoted to the law, and they cleansed the sanctuary and removed the defiled stones to an unclean place. They deliberated what to do about the altar of burnt offering, which had been profaned. And they thought it best to tear it down so that it would not be a lasting shame to them that the Gentiles had defiled it. So they tore down the altar and stored the stones in a convenient place on the temple hill until a prophet should come to tell what to do with them. Then they took unhewn stones, as the law directs, and built a new altar like the former one. They also rebuilt the sanctuary and the interior of the temple and consecrated the courts. They made new holy vessels and brought the lampstand, the altar of incense, and the table into the temple. Then they offered incense on the altar and lit the lamps on the lampstand, and these gave light in the temple. They placed the bread on the table and hung up the curtains. Thus they finished all the work they had undertaken. Early in the morning, on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is the month of Chislev, in the 148th year, they rose and offered sacrifice as the law directs, on the new altar of burnt offering that they had built. At that very season, and on the very day that the Gentiles had profaned it, it was dedicated with songs and harps and lutes and cymbals. All the people fell on their faces and worshipped and blessed Him who had prospered them. So they celebrated the dedication of the altar for 8 days and joyfully offered burnt offerings. They offered a sacrifice of well-being and a thanksgiving offering. They decorated the front of the temple with golden crowns and small shields. They restored the gates and the chambers for the priests and fitted them with doors. There was very great joy among the people, and the disgrace brought by the Gentiles was removed. Then Judas and his brothers and all the assembly of Israel determined that every year at that season, the days of dedication of the altar should be observed with joy and gladness for 8 days, beginning with the 25th day of the month of Chislev. At that time they fortified Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers all around to keep the Gentiles from coming and trampling them down as they had done before. Judas stationed a garrison there to guard it. He also fortified Beth-zur to guard it, so that the people might have a stronghold that faced Idumea. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Happy Hanukkah, guys. You've been through an awful lot. You deserve it.